welcome to the Masterclass series. You know, with any organization, with any business, they'll tell you that the business became successful because it was their nuts and bolts that made them so successful. It was the crust of the business that made them incredibly successful. So with us as personal trainers, we have to find the nuts and bolts of ourselves, our values, our core values that makes us incredibly successful. It gives us the building blocks and stepping stones for success. So I'm going to start with the first one, and that's being human. Now, with so much social media out there, I think it's taken away this human touch that we really need as trainers. Being human is so remarkably important to your clients because they need to see that you're approachable, first of all, and two, you can hold a conversation with them. So being human is an easy core value to bring onto your business. Empathy. Now, empathy is one of the strongest ones, of course, because you're going to need this core value several times, possibly even throughout the day. How many times have you had a client sit next to you and cry, or a client that literally throws up in front of you, or somebody who says, "I can't do this," and runs away? How many times has that happened? It might not have happened at all, but to me, it's happened several times, and it's this level of empathy that is required, certainly in the consultation process, where you're sitting in a room and literally you're listening. You're listening and digesting exactly what your client is telling you. So you must show a level of empathy, and that goes through, obviously, your consultation or when you're delivering personal training, because you just don't know what's going to come back to you. And every day is completely different. Every day is something completely different that might happen. So remember, always show that level of empathy. Listening. To be a great listener is really important to be a personal trainer. Why? Because listening is so incredibly powerful. Listening actually engages conversation, bizarrely enough, with your client. There has to be a level, certainly in the consultation process, where you're able to listen. Embrace what that individual is saying. And only at the right time do you then actually address what you can deliver as a trainer. Being a great communicator. Again, this is a core value that is equally as important than the rest. A communicator in terms of how you deliver and adapt exercise. A communicator in terms of how you speak to your client in a certain way that is always professional and with empathy. A communicator in terms of others, your mentors, your colleagues, your managers, your friends, your family. It's the ability to communicate literally verbally and in writing and being professional while you're doing it. Trust. Now, there's got to be a level of trust when you're doing personal training, and you're entering someone's space, and that's a level of trust. So it's building a relationship with that individual that will take time, but when you're entering their most valuable space, that's trust. Of course, motivation will go into that in one of the Masterclass series, but motivation is used so well if you do it properly. And motivation doesn't need to be screaming at somebody, but it can be used in so many different variations to inspire somebody and take them along their journey. Mindset, my favorite core value. So again, having a winning mindset is so incredibly important because for us as trainers, sometimes we have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes we don't go to sleep at midnight. So how do we have this mindset that goes on in our heads that allows us to do this again and again and again and again? Now, so many people will stop. So many people will quit. So many people will say, "You know what, I can't do this because my mindset doesn't tell me that I can actually do this," but let me tell you, it can. So having a winning mindset. So again, every workout has to be better than the last. So you're delivering a winning mindset to your client on a regular basis. I remember one of my clients that I trained for a long period of time, and this was going back 2003, and I looked after him for about 6 years. And he said to me, "Mark, how is it every single time I walk into your studio, it's like the very first time I met you?" And that is because of my winning mindset. Brian's workout had to be better than the last. And because of it, I had a client there for over 5 years, actually went on to nearly 10 years. I built that level of retention, and that is what a winning mindset can do. And I want you to really use this to inspire your business, to inspire you to do more. Passion. Now, passion has to come from within, not from anywhere else. It's got to come from within. And people that you look after, people that you talk to, people that you see, people that you inspire need to see that you've got this passion, not just for training, but for life. Have you got passion for life? Passion for life is everything. Times can be really difficult and life can be up and down, but there is a beautiful life out there. And you know what? When you have passion for everything that you do, in particular, something that you really, really love. Personal training is something that I love. And if you love it as much as I do, then you're going to have that passion. And to be successful in this, I want you to use that passion every single day. Professionalism. Now, this is an incredibly important core value. You need to turn up to your personal training sessions every time on time. And of course, you need to look immaculate. You need to look groomed. And of course, that's for everyone. You're in a service business. So, being professional. Now, I remember I was very fortunate enough to train one of the most beautiful women in the world, Lara Dutta. She was Miss World, Miss India, Miss Universe. And my level of professionalism was that I never looked beyond a certain level, and I always looked at her in the eye. And that's the level of professionalism you need. So it doesn't matter who you're training, whether it's a client that you've met locally, whether it's a client that you've met in the city, or whether it's an influencer, a celebrity, a cabinet minister, it doesn't matter. What matters is everyone is treated the same way, and your level of professionalism never stops. Always. It's constant and at the highest level. Perseverance. Now, perseverance is a core value, tells you everything. Now, how many of us have tried to stop, tried to give up, tried to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. This is just far too much for me. I can't get up in the morning. It's just too difficult. I can't, even somebody's paying me 20 to 30 pounds for this session, and I can't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Or I've tried 6 hours during the day and I've trained 3 people or 4 people, and I simply can't do it. I can't do this on a regular basis. Why? Well, why can't you do it? Because if I can do it, you can do it. Perseverance is never, ever giving up. If you embarked on a journey like this in personal training, then you've got to deliver. You've got to deliver, and you've got to go in 100%, not 50%, 75%, or 85%, or even 90%. It has to be 100%. 100% dedication. And perseverance is something that you can never give up. You keep going. Because do you know what? If you keep going at something, you keep the level of perseverance up, I promise you, you will become successful. It's all about being consistent. Finally, respect. Now, this is a core value that literally a lot of us forget about. Of course, we respect our others. We respect everyone we approach, and we respect everyone that we speak to. But the most important thing here is we respect our colleagues, our other personal trainers, right? Our friends, and of course the people that we work with. Because yes, it's incredibly competitive. This is an incredibly competitive field. This is a massively competitive sector. But being respectful goes a long way. There was a time I stumbled into a gym. There were 5 trainers surrounding this other trainer. And the other trainer, unfortunately, not by any fault of his, took on one of the clients that belonged to one of the 5 trainers. Now, what happened was, of course, these guys surrounded him, and it simply wasn't pretty. And that should never happen. It shouldn't happen in any organization, and it certainly shouldn't happen in a gym or amongst trainers. Respect one another, because you don't know where this is going to go. I mean, how many of us have lost a client because they've gone to another trainer? So another trainer have taken a client from you. It's happened to me. It's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to you. And the best thing that you can do is literally tap the other trainer on the back and say, well done, go and enjoy that. And go and see the client. See the client and say, look, this guy is a great trainer, or this girl's a great trainer, and they're going to be there for you. They're going to be looking after you. So being respectful is so incredibly important. So we've looked at the core values here. We've brought this list together. And why am I telling you about these core values? What's so special about these core values? These core values were embedded to me when I first started personal training 28 years ago. And they've literally carried me through my career, my 28 years of doing this. They are everything. They are absolutely everything, because without them, you can't really move forward. So I want you to do this. I want you to embrace them. I want you to digest them, and I want you to live them, because if you live these values, if you truly live these values as a trainer, this is what sells personal training. When people see that you're passionate, when people see that you're strong, when people see that you've got motivation, when people see that you're trustworthy, bring all these core values together. And that is what sells personal training.